Hello, namaste everyone. Welcome to my class. I am Vinod. Last class we have learned about the cathode rays, discovery of the cathode rays, J.J. Thomson's discharge tube, the glass tube which we have learned about. Then today we will start with the anode rays. So since it was found that atom is electrically neutral and the presence of electrons in the atom are discovered by J.J. Thomson, the negatively charged particle. Now all our attempts are to find out the presence of positively charged particles. So it was an experiment done by GOLDSTEIN in 1886. So the discovery of anode rays. It is also done with the help of the discharge tube. Little modification, I will draw it on the board. So this is anode ray discovery. GOLDSTEIN performed this activity anode rays. So he just modified the discharge tube. What he has taken is he took the cathode with perforations. So I'll tell you what exactly are the perforations. So he has used the same glass tube. So to which the glass discharge tube to which the vacuum pump is connected, where the pressure can be maintained, the atmospheric pressure can be controlled and can be increased or decreased. Right now the model, you have seen this primitive model or the regular model of the discharge tube. Then, so the new model of this where GOLDSTEIN done is, he reduced the gap between the two electrodes. Right now we have taken this one as the positive electrode anode, so which is connected to an induction coil to maintain a very high voltage between the electrodes. So here we are going to have the cathode. The design of the cathode is with perforations. Perforations are nothing but small openings in between the cathode rays. So there are some small gaps in between the cathode. So we are going to go with the side view of the cathode. Okay, this is our cathode. This is my cathode. This is how the design of the discharge tube which GOLDSTEIN made in order to identify or to discover the anode rays. Now the gas which is filled at normal atmospheric pressure, nothing is noticed. So when the pressure was gradually reduced at 1 mm mercury, what he observed is the glow which is caused due to the plasma state. The next, on reducing the pressure still more at 0.001 mm of mercury, what we have identified in our previous class is here this part of the discharge tube started glowing. It is due to the cathode rays which come from the cathode as well as the gas which is present in between. Now since the gap is very short, almost all the electrons which are present in the outermost shells, like the electrons which are present in these atoms, are repelled. The negative charges when they strike here, so fluorescence is observed behind the anode. So whatever the molecules of gas or the atoms of gas which are present in this narrow gap between the two electrodes is highly ionized or left with the positively charged, left with the high concentration of positive charge. Since the gap is very small, there is large amount of electrostatic force of attraction from the cathode. As a result, these positive charges started moving. So those positive charges which are near to the perforations started moving through the perforations, and those which are striking the cathode ray, those which are striking the cathode are able to collect the electrons and once again turn back into atoms. But those which pass through the perforations move very fastly towards the other end behind the cathode. So these rays are called anode rays. They are identified because they also produce fluorescence on the other end. Exactly, if I take this end as E and that end as F, so he was able to detect the fluorescence on the F side of the discharge tube. So he called them as anode rays, or they are also called as canal rays. The reason behind calling the anode rays as canal rays is due to the passage of these rays through the perforations. So they are like the streams or the channels which pass through the perforations of cathode, so they are called as canal rays. Okay, we will go with the properties of anode rays. The first property is regularly when a opaque object is placed on the path of the anode rays, they cast a sharp shadow, which leads to the conclusion that anode rays travel in straight line. So we will go with the second point. When a pedal wheel is placed in between this, they are able to produce the mechanical or rotational motion in it. So it can be produced by only particles. So they are charged particles. And anode rays are deflected by external electric and magnetic fields. So they are identified that they carry positive charge. So very important thing from this activity is anode rays are due to the gas present in the discharge tube. Right now when we are learning about the cathode rays are due to the electrons which come from the gas as well as the electrons that are repelled from the cathode itself. So both possibilities are there. Right now when we are going with the anode rays, the positive charge particles do not come out of the anode. So they are only due to the gas which is present inside the discharge tube. So it was known because each gas, hydrogen, helium, oxygen or nitrogen, whatever gas is taken inside, showed little difference in their charge by mass ratio when it was calculated. Out of this, J.J. Thomson identified that the hydrogen gas consists of the anode particles or positively charged particles which have very less charge by mass ratio. So he started calculating the the mass of the hydrogen atom, positively charged particle, or we can say like the nucleus of hydrogen atom, or we can say that the nucleus consists of only one proton, so it is a positive charge over there. So we will go with the calculation of mass of these, particularly the anode rays or the positive particles which are produced when hydrogen gas is taken. So he calculated that charge by mass ratio of the positive particle is 9.58 into 10 power 8 coulombs per kilogram. Then from Millikan's oil drop experiment, the charge of the positive particle is found to be 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. Using these two, the mass of the positive charged particle is calculated. Which is equal to 1.67 into 10 power minus 27 kilogram. Okay, this is what is the mass of proton. Now we started calling the positively charged particles as protons. So proton is a subatomic or fundamental charge, subatomic or fundamental particle which consists or which has a unit positive charge, or you can say which carries a unit positive charge, and whose mass is equal to the mass of hydrogen atom. Okay, we'll go with, since we have the discovery of these positive and negative charged particles, the protons and the electrons are known. So and we also know that atom as a whole is electrically neutral. Now the task of the scientists at the end of the 19th century is to design the model of an atom, or we can say the structure of atom. The first attempt in explaining the structure of the atom was done by J.J. Thomson. So J.J. Thomson's model of atom. So J.J. Thomson model is also called as plum-pudding model. He did this model almost at the end of 19th century. Okay, here the model of J.J. Thomson atom is, he considered atom to be a sphere, spherical in shape, and this spherical shape is completely a positively charged. So atom is a sphere of positive charge. So the atom is made up of completely a sphere of positive charge in which negatively charged electrons are embedded. So how many electrons are embedded? Since we say that, or we know that atom is electrically neutral, these electrons are sufficient to neutralize the entire positive charge of the atom. This is how is the design of J.J. Thomson's model of an atom. So it's a sphere of positive charge in which negatively charged electrons are embedded in such a way that they neutralize the charge, or as a whole the atom remains electrically neutral. Now this model is also called plum-pudding model. Plum-pudding model. Because it is like the plum cake in which the currants or the dry fruits are embedded in. Then what are the limitations of this model? The important limitations of this model is important or very this model does not have any experimental proof. That is one drawback of this model. The second one is this model couldn't explain the alpha particle scattering done by the done by Rutherford. So it couldn't explain the results that are obtained from the Rutherford alpha particle scattering. Okay, thank you very much. We will discuss more about Rutherford's alpha particle scattering in the next session. Thank you.